podcast, where you gain precious tips for easily ignite your full spectrum wealthy life. Join us every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific with your friends and families because we all want and deserve to be wealthy and happy. This podcast is powered by Anchor FM by Spotify. Anchor FM is this super awesome free podcast made easy platform. And for this week, we welcome Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole. Please share us
Oh,
what that you do.
you are most welcome, Birgitte. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I am from Trinidad and Tobago, which is in the Caribbean, and I have three portfolios within my company. I am an image and reputation coach, a public relations consultant, and a personal stylist.
Wow, that is, in a way, they all connect together, but it's also a
Precisely,
separate,
yes.
right? And so what brought you to doing what you do?
The first thing was just wanting to be my own boss. If I had to be honest, I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was 7 years old. So, it became like a lifelong dream of mine that came true. But I think there are two main reasons later on why I started doing these particular portfolios. One was that I was actually looking for an image coach for an event or for a project, and I could not find one, and nobody knew of one. And I'm like, well, there's a market to tap into here. So I decided to go for it. And incidentally, before I even made a solid decision with it, people started approaching me to help them with their styling, whether it was for weddings or for work or whatever, or in general. And then the second reason was some years ago, I was like, okay, what is my purpose? And through a conversation with God, He said to inspire, to motivate, to encourage, to uplift. And based on so many experiences that I have had in my life, professionally and personally, I felt that that was also something that I can incorporate into my professional life as well. And I want to see people win. For my portfolios in personal styling and image coaching, I deal specifically with female clients, mostly between 35 to 55. And I want to see them win. I want to see them have confidence. I want to see them operate with authority. So just encouraging them and letting them know that, listen, you can win at this. You don't have to stay in the shadows. That really worked out well for me. So those were the two main things that really drove me to say, yes, this is definitely what I want to do.
That is so beautiful. And now doing what you love to do.
Thank you. Yes.
Your lifelong dream, being able to be an entrepreneur and have your freedom being able to do that, and also fulfilling your purpose in the most beautiful way. And I love how you say that, to be able to help people, to lift people, and to help them win. Because sometimes when people depend on who you speak with, sometimes we hear about, oh, an image coach, and it's all about, oh, kind of like you're so worried about your image and vanity. But that's not what I'm hearing.
Right. I think even with my personal styling, yes, I'm helping you to refine your image in terms of how you look with your clothes, with your hair, with your makeup, or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're going through all of that and you're not feeling confident, you're not feeling as if you're your authentic self, then something is wrong. Let's work on that as well. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or therapist or whatever the case might be, but I am intuitive. And when I sense things with people and I have conversations with them, I learn things. And sometimes I can use those things that I learn about them to help them to unlock certain things, especially their mindset. Because, for instance, when I'm doing image coaching sessions, whether it's public speaking, media interview coaching, body language coaching, whatever the case might be, there is always that something that keeps them back. And a lot of times it stems from their childhood or experiences they had as an adult. So like I said, I'm not a psychologist, but once I learn certain things or I see certain things within them, I say, okay, that's something I can use to work with to help unlock their mind and get them to the next level. So I really like a holistic approach to things as much as possible.
And that's wonderful. I mean, yes, it's great to be psychologist or therapist or something, but sometimes you go by the book versus if you are intuitive and skillful, and everybody needs different approach, right? In some cases, yes, it's
correct.
Having a therapist is great, but sometimes if you are from what I'm hearing, you help them bring out you help your client, whether it's image coach or a personal styling, please cover their brilliant self and
yes,
be embracing them and bringing them out.
Correct. And that is so important because a lot of times, people just go through the motions over and over and they don't feel as if they have anywhere to unlock that and deal with it. So I call it experience plaque, like how plaque builds up, and people have experience plaque where this thing builds up over time and it can cause problems. So if we can just start to chip away at that little by little, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes even within a session itself, I would see that aha moment for them. And they would, I can see like, okay, they got something. And sometimes I see a bit of a difference with the way they move and the way they talk. And it's so phenomenal to watch.
Oh, that's beautiful. You kind of allow them to be particularly if you're talking about women, to be more confident a lot of time. Like
yes,
to be in their power a little bit more, not in a bad way, but to kind of embrace who the beautiful person.
Absolutely. And whether they are dealing with a job, an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job, or whether they're operating in their own business, there are ways that you can be confident and you can operate with authority without being aggressive or abrasive. And this is what I teach women as well. I mean, sometimes you have to check people out. Sometimes some people need to be checked. But at the same time, you can relay your feelings. You can be your authentic self in terms of expressing what you like, what you wouldn't like, what you want or what you don't want. But there are ways that you can do it. And I also coach with soft skills. So I help people to figure out how they can tackle those not too pleasant situations.
That's wonderful. That is so awesome. So based on what you are helping people with, do you have 1 or 2 tips for people or women or people in general in creating their beautiful, joyfully rich life, where they just, a wonderful full spectrum rich, where they feel great in their own skin, so to say?
Right. I love how you said that. Be great in your own skin, because at the end of the day, I love personal branding. I think personal branding is such a powerful thing. You own who you are. We're all flawed in some way or the other, but we're also fabulous. And we need to embrace that. So for me, I would say, know that you have something to say. You have a voice and you should be heard. And you need to be able to say, I deserve a spot. And if you won't give me that spot, I'm going to get my own spot. And that is something that I want women or my clients on the whole to believe, that there is a space for you in this world. You're not insignificant. The other thing that I would tell them is one of my favorites: rank up yourself. And what I mean by that is don't be afraid to, I don't want to say boast about yourself, but don't be afraid to talk about yourself. A lot of times, especially with this whole social media thing, people tend to be afraid to talk about themselves because they don't want to come across as being too full of themselves. But honey, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you have to put yourself out there. You have to talk about yourself. You have to promote yourself. And I want you to be able to rank up yourself. Say, yes, I'm fabulous. Yes, I'm this. Yes, I'm that. And hey, this is me. Take it or leave it. You know, that's the kind of attitude and essence that I want to emanate from my clients. So don't be afraid to stand in your own truth and your own power.
That is beautiful, and that's a beautiful advice. Now to rank up yourself, to
Yes,
just to embrace and stand your ground, because there are in this life there are people who sometimes have agenda and want to make you, and sometimes people I discovered quite a while back, some people don't even realize they have agenda. You know what it is? That's like,
yeah.
just the way they're thinking, or they brought up or whatever, they don't even like realize they have agenda. But in general, you know, a lot of people has in their mind, it's like how they want people to be, and it might
Mm-hmm.
not be the way you that sings well with you, and that's beautiful.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
That's right. You
And
know?
so what you're saying is how we present ourselves externally influence how we feel inside, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gathering. So in other words, if your inspiration is to be, say, a super successful businesswoman running 8 figures company, then you might want
Mm-hmm.
to get out of your daytime even when
Right.
you're working from home. Is that what I'm hearing?
You know, it's that is one of the most argued points that I come across because people tend to say, you know, this is me, you know, I am not a fussy person with dressing, or I'm good with a t-shirt and jeans and all of this. But at the end of the day, I always tell them, listen to people who have walked the path that you have walked. A lot of times you'll notice one of two things. One, when they started off, they had to present themselves a particular way because people who had walked the path before them, if they appear, if that second person had appeared looking all scruffy and stuff, they would look at them and they would judge them, and they would be like, okay, this person is not serious. And that's one thing. The second thing is, a lot of times, even if people start off a particular way, it's only when they reach a particular height, they go to that point where they dress however they feel to dress. They, you know, they put on a pair of flip-flops to go wherever, it doesn't matter. You know, so for me, especially when you have to be within certain forums and be in certain groups and certain networks, you have to be able to present yourself the way you want to be seen. If you think that not putting much effort into your dress makes you authentic, I can't fight with you if you don't want to listen to me. But if you really want to make an impression, there are ways that you can have a more polished image, and you don't have to spend millions of dollars or thousands and thousands of dollars. There are simple ways that you can dress well and put your best foot forward. So I think for people, they're so guarded and defensive about it. If they would just embrace it, they would understand. And there's so much I can say on that.
It's one of those things that you said, don't get me started.
Oh yes, for sure, for sure. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Don't get me
I'm
started.
going into territory here.
But you know, that's very interesting, because many times people mistaken. I think what happened is people mistaken being professional versus being authentic.
Yes.
To be
Oh my
authentic.
gosh, you said it perfectly. Yes.
Yeah.
That is true because you can be authentic, simply having a put together hairstyle, having some simple clothes. And listen, you can wear a pair of jeans with a blazer and a nice camisole underneath and a nice pair of shoes and be well put together. Nobody's saying you have to go and wear a fur coat and, leather pants and all of these different things. And it's so true what you said. People, they misinterpret the whole message. There is a way that you can be polished without going overboard. And even in terms of makeup, some women say, well, I don't like makeup, I'm not doing that. But there are some times that it's okay to just put on a little bit of powder, even a tinted lip gloss, a little bit of eyeliner, just little things, just little changes you have to make. I'm not saying you have to go and put on concealer and do contouring and highlighting and all of this. You don't have to. There's simple ways of presenting yourself in a polished way.
I love that. Yeah, I remember the first time I have to be on big screen. Like, this is when we met in person back in the day, and it's like an auditorium of like 1,200 people, and it was like, and the first thing they look at me was like, "Where's your makeup bag? Make sure you bring your makeup bag." I said, "I don't have makeup. I'm allergic to most makeup." They're like, "You will look like a ghost on the screen."
Right.
And they're like, you're allergic to everything, so they managed to gather some more
right. Oh my gosh.
Just like looking at myself, I wanted to scream when I was oh my god, I will look so like watch until you look at yourself in the big screen. And sure enough, it's like a matter of sure, you don't like makeup. If you want to be on the big screen, that's like, the size of the wall, the lighting is so much so that you better.
Oh, yes.
Like a ghost, scare everybody.
Yes. Yes. That, and that's the thing. Even for different forums that you go on, if you are just doing like an in-person thing, it's just you all in whatever venue, that's one thing. If you're doing film, that's a whole other thing, and these HD features now, they like bring out everything on you. So sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone. And that's what some people fight against at times. They're like, I'm accustomed doing this, so I don't want to do this other thing. But there are times you have to come out of your comfort zone a little bit. Nobody's saying you have to do certain things every single day, but surely when the occasion calls for it, you should do it.
Right. And very soon those uncomfortable things, if that's really what you want, you learn to adapt to them. And so
that's right.
Cool. What a great just advice. Now, perhaps
Thank you.
But you're also part of the G100 Oneness and Wisdom, isn't
yes
it? You are
yes
country chair.
Yes, I am the state chair for Port of Spain, which is with the Trinidad and Tobago chapter. Joining G100, which, as some people may know, it's a global organization with women and just such phenomenal, powerful women from all different walks of life, all different cultures and perspectives. It's one of the best moves I have ever made in my life. I absolutely enjoy being a part of the organization, whether it's just my local chapter or the global sisterhood. Everybody has been so warm and supportive, and people just band together. It's just really all about a common purpose, and it's about sisterhood. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your nationality is. It just does not matter. And it's been a beautiful experience so far.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Yes, we meet through the G100 actually.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Great meeting. So many amazing women.
Oh, yes.
So, so
Definitely.
that is great. So that is so awesome. So how do people, if that somebody would love to ask some advice about their image and so forth, how do people connect with you?
Okay, so there are a few options. If they are on LinkedIn, they can find me at Nicole, Nicole S.J Farrell, which is Farrell, or they can find me on Facebook, whether it's my personal profile, which is Nicole Farrell. And then there is my business page, which is called Okra Events, which is AU. It's three separate words: AUCOURANT events, EVENTZ. So those are some ways that they can get in touch with me. And if anybody wants to get me via WhatsApp, they can get me at 1-868-746-0193. So they have a few, well, several options there that they can use.
She is widely available for you, whether you would love an image consultations or to personal consultations where you help people embrace and step in and shine to who they are and shine brighter. And that is so beautiful and so important, more than and many people can think of. Actually, it is really it can change how you are and your and our success and our results. So that is so awesome, so beautiful.
Thank you.
We didn't plan this, but somehow we match in a way, so to say, in our heart. It's awesome. So like, wow, great mind thinks alike. No, that's exactly, but pretty similar. And so,
I know.
do you have a
Yeah.
final message for our listener?
I just want to say, especially to the women out there, and especially those who may be within the Generation X or the baby boomers, there you may reach a certain point and think, well, oh, you know what, the world is just full now of millennials and the Gen Z groups. But at the end of the day, there are ways that you can find a balance between the two. And there are ways that you can still make your mark. So, yes, they are now coming up, but you can still have an offering for them. And don't forget to rank up yourself. Be okay with putting yourself out there. It might be scary because I know a lot of people are introverts, but at the end of the day, listen, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and you will be fabulous.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Of an advice. And yes, like you said, you could, even if you are introvert, it's very possible. I used to be, if you use the scale with 10 being the worst or most severe, I used to be a 10 out of 10 introvert.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is like top level.
So I wouldn't talk to people, and if you speak with me, I wouldn't even look at you.
Really? Wow. And what's the strange thing? Like, people who are extroverted, they don't totally get introverts. It's like, really? Like, that's difficult for you, but I've met so many introverts when I became an entrepreneur that now I have some compassion for them, and I've learned how to interact with them and kind of pull them out of that shell.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that is wonderful that you're able to do that. I think I did it on my own somehow, some way, but it was really
Yeah, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, right?
exactly things that were uncomfortable. You keep doing them, then you just like
That's right.
you know it. You're on the other end of the spectrum.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now
Yep.
I'll make friend with I don't know the Uber driver. In an elevator.
Yes, that's when you know you've reached. You've reached. You can just have a conversation with anybody, and you can make friends easily. Yeah.
And but you know that's the point. Even if you like Nicole here says, even if you feel that you're in a baby boomer or a
Generation X.
X,
Yeah.
it's still possible. And even if you are a severe, not many people are a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's possible, and allow Nicole to help you step into and embrace the magnificence that you are and
Oh
bring out
yes.
brilliance.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
so thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for sharing your
You are
day.
so welcome.
And
Thank you, Birgitte.
yes, and for you, my friend, who are listening to this, please share one or two gold nuggets in the comments so we can continue learning from each other. And thank you for joining us. Please share this podcast with your friends and family so they too can triumph, so they too can shine even brighter. And it is such a
Yes.
pleasure. Thank you again, Nicole. This is Birgitte.
Thank you. You're welcome.
This
It
is
was awesome being here.
This is Dr. Birgitte Tan. We're so honored to have Nicole here today. I'm your grief transformation specialist for individual and businesses, founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity and United States country chair for the G100 Global Networking All Ladies League. This podcast is done in relations for the G100 Global Networking United States and Global Network. All ladies league, and make it a thriving days, and we will see you again Saturday at 8:30 a.m.